everybody, I'm David with Bolivar Live. If you only knew what went on beforehand, because we come in with one plan and then I change it whenever we go live. But Dan, you and I were talking when you came in about we made it through winter, had some snow and a little ice, but before we know it, hurricane season's going to be here. And now's really the time to start making plans and looking at what you have. Is your home okay? But it's really about insurance and going over insurance. Yeah. What steps should people now, like Chris, we make our box usually around March or April that she's gonna take with us, and she's gone over the car insurances and everything. What should people do now on home insurance to be ready for hurricane season?
It's a little bit down here. It's a little bit different. As a resident, you've got what am I going to take with me when I leave? A lot of times people have a second home here and they're already away and they don't really need to come down here to grab stuff. So from an insurance company standpoint, you need to have records of your policy numbers. Make sure you have your agent's information, your contact information, whether it's email addresses, phones, whatever that is. Claims numbers for wind, flood, and your homeowner's policy, all of those. In the event you aren't able to get in touch with your agent for some reason, you need to be able to make those claims early in the event something happens. It's also a really good time to go over your insurance. For many, many years, there were nothing but brand new homes out down here.
Right.
So now some of those brand new homes that were built in 2010 are not as new anymore.
Right.
Their codes have changed, and so coverages need to be reviewed to make sure you have the right coverage. A home built right now is going to be a certain code, and a home built in 2010, or if you have one that's been around longer than that, they may need an additional coverage to make sure that the home is covered correctly.
Right.
You can review your flood insurance. There have been a lot of changes in that. Make sure that your company has your elevation certificate. You no longer need an elevation certificate to get flood insurance in a V-zone, but that doesn't mean you're getting the best rate.
Right. So having a flood elevation certificate in a V-zone can help you with pricing?
Normally, yes.
Okay.
In every situation, I can't say that, but 99% of the time it's going to make a substantial difference. We did one the other day that, it just, without the elevation certificate, the flood rate, $250,000 in coverage, $100,000 in contents, came up at $5,400. When we inputted the elevation certificate information, that rate dropped to $1,950.
Oh man, over half.
Oh yeah. So no, I don't have to have an elevation certificate to give you a flood rate, but it does help. So back to what we were talking about, look at your windstorm coverages, talk to your agent, look at the age of your home, and do you have the right coverage considering the age of your home. Look at your deductible options and understand that, for example, Hurricane Beryl was a wind event, right? So your windstorm policy would apply and your deductible would apply to that. So you have a $500,000 house with a 3% deductible, that's $15,000. So if you have 2 squares gone, there's no claim.
Right.
But you also have to understand, what if you have a wind and a flood event? So you have that $15,000 deductible on your house, you have another maybe a 3% deductible on your personal property, then you maybe have some flood damage, and you may have a $5,000 deductible on flood. Well, there's a deductible in each policy.
Right. Okay.
So remember all that. Understand what your financial commitment in the event of claim. What you've got coming. And you review your homeowner's policy as well to make sure nothing has changed. Sometimes we're finding people now, they may have just had a house as a second home, but now they're periodically renting it as a way to subsidize the cost of an owning home. Well, that changes the exposure. So make sure that you are reviewing that, make sure you have the right liability protection.
Because that's different if you're going to rent it.
It is. There's a different exposure.
Okay.
If you just made that decision and your agent doesn't know about it, then you may not have coverage in that event. But as it relates back to storm season, now's a good time to take a look at those things, sit down, call the guy, call us, spend 15 minutes on the phone. then let that person go to work for you and then show you your options or revisit your options and what you want to do.
Great. I'm going to touch on something real quick.
Yeah, they've got another thing to come back to as well.
On insurance. Is it good every year to go through and take pictures of the outside, the inside, your contents? I know when I hit, a couple of my friends said, man, what saved us was my daughter went through and took a video of the whole house inside, and they lost everything. But they said that we went through those videos and were able to write down everything we lost, and it helped with our insurance.
Absolutely. You know, realistically, do you want to do that every year? That's a hard thing to do. You know, nobody really is going to do that. But when you first have the house or once in a blue moon, do that, and then guess what? Keep that record somewhere else.
Right.
Because if the house burns down or is total loss,
right,
you lose them. So keep them in a different spot. That's a good thing. There's also this other thing when you review your insurance about insurance to value. You've heard, everybody knows about what happened in California with the fires, right? Well, what has happened and what happened here pre-Ike, when a lot of people lost their houses, and out there, those people were desperately underinsured. They had owned those homes many years. Market value and construction cost regulations has changed. So the cost of construction there is $1,000 a foot.
Oh man.
Right. The cost of construction here might be $250, $300, depending on on your customization level of what you're doing. But if you're underinsured, you do not have the money to get back.
If it cost $150 when you built it, and that's what everything's based on, and it's $350 now.
Haven't made those changes, then you're underinsured, and we're not going to be able to provide the money to get you back where you want to be.
Right.
In the event something does happen. So look at that too, and yes, that does drive costs, but
you want to make sure you have the insurance needed so you can rebuild.
Yeah.
Great.
That's exactly what you want to do. So.
Great. Well, if people want to get hold of you, maybe to look at their policy or compare, what's the best way? Website?
Website, priestinsuranceagency.com. Call us, 409-755-7600. You can talk to myself. Jamie does a lot of our work down here as well. She has 15 years experience. And the other people in the office can certainly get the information from you, and then we can call you back.
Great, great. Well, we do this show every week, and sometimes we're talking fishing, but most of the time we're talking insurance and what you need to look at and some of the changes that are happening in the industry. So we're going to head on out. Until next time, I'm David with Bolivar Live with Dan Priest with Priest Insurance Agency. Y'all have a great day, great week. Come see us. God bless, and bye-bye. Video equipment is sponsored by Crystal Beach Decor and More, located at 1959 Highway 87 in Crystal Beach, Texas, and Beachy Beatnik Boutique and Jewelry, located at 970 Surfside and Highway 87 in Crystal Beach, Texas. Thank you to these two businesses for being our 2025 video equipment sponsor for Bolivar Live.